Hey, what's going on, guys? Taylor here. Welcome back for another video. If this is your first time joining me today, please go ahead and like the video ahead of time. I know it's weird, right? Like it before you even saw it. What if it's not good? Just kidding. And go ahead and hit the little notification bell and subscribe, because I'm going to start putting out a lot more content, going more in depth with a lot of the stuff I've already talked about before, because you guys want it and you guys asked for it a lot. So anyways, let's hop into the topic of the discussion today, which is the question I get asked absolutely 100% hands down the most as a recruiter, and that is, how do I pass the ASVAB? That's right. How do I pass the ASVAB test? And for those that are watching that don't know what the ASVAB is, it's the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. This is the equivalent of like the SATs or like the entrance exam to the military, and every branch has their minimum required score. So some branches might have a 31, such as the Marine Corps, right? Our minimum score is a 31 out of 99. Other branches might have higher, lower, whatever. But the point is, depending on the branch you're trying to enlist into, you have to meet the minimum required score to be eligible for enlistment. Now, we're not even talking about jobs yet and other things that go along with that score. This is just meeting those basic eligibilities to enlist. So again, for those that are watching that aren't familiar, the ASVAB, it's a placement test based off percentiles that goes over 10 different sections. Again, in all of this, by the way, most people don't know this, that the ASVAB is a 10th grade level. 10th grade level, and I've met guys that are college graduates, 4-year bachelor's degrees with higher, who struggle with it, and the average high schooler who struggles with it as well. So if you're watching this and you're in high school, just graduating, you're struggling, just know that a lot of people out there struggle with this test that are college educated and beyond, and those that don't have any college education as well. So don't feel, isolated or singled out or whatever the case is. Just know that it's extremely common. But what I'm going to give you guys today are the proven study techniques that I've given many other people that have applied these, again, keyword applied, and actually did this to become successful joining whatever branch they were trying to join. But for me, it was the Marine Corps, because I'm a Marine Corps recruiter. So with that being said, let's hop into my links and my suggestions on how to make you pass the ASVAB. All right, so starting out, you have to figure out what kind of learner you are. And what I mean is, everybody learns differently. So for instance, I don't like taking tests. I don't like sitting there and memorizing stuff and sitting there taking a test and trying to recall it, because I'm not good at that. And most people aren't. I think like 60% of people in the world are just not good test takers. I completely made that percentage up, but it just sounds good. But anyways, most people aren't good test takers, but a lot of people can study and become better test takers if they use the skills and stuff I'm going to be providing for you guys today. So you have to figure out what kind of learner you are. Are you a hands-on learner? Are you a visual learner? Do you learn well by listening and not really watching? Are you a combination of all? And I ask that because when it comes to studying, you can study for the ASVAB in a lot of different ways. You can read a book, you can do an app, you can do flashcards, etc. But what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for somebody else. So again, it's figuring out your learning style and what works best for you. So let's start off with the most common one. And again, I'm going to give links in the description going over everything I'm talking about today, and I'll put up little pictures and stuff here too to kind of give you a visual of what I'm talking about as well. But let's start out with the most basic one, all right? And I'm going to go from free to paid as well. So an app. We're in the year 2022. Everybody has a smartphone. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, it doesn't matter. Everyone has some sort of smartphone. So with that, you can go to your app store and you can download the ASVAB app, right? ASVAB Study Guide 2022. It's free on iPhone, Android, whatever, and you can use that to study for free and get better and pass the ASVAB. Now, this isn't my favorite, because when you have a cell phone, right, you have notifications, you have alerts, you have things that are going to distract you from studying, whereas if you have a book or something else, you're more prone, for the most part, to focus and be less distracted. Now, if you do want to use your phone, because it is convenient, right? If I wanted to study for the ASVAB, put my phone up right now, boom, 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 do like a quick little 5, 10, 15 minute study session, whatever they have. All right, and I'm done. Phone down, that's it. I don't need to bring anything extra with me, nothing like that. But if you do use your phone, I highly recommend putting your phone in airplane mode and just turning off the notifications so you do not get distracted, or put on do not disturb or whatever. But the app is a good free tool you can use, and I recommend it, but it's not the first one I recommend. But you can try it, because I don't like it necessarily, but it might work for you, and you might have a lot of success with that as well. So try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, whatever. Number 2, now apps are great, but now let's kind of expand. Now, I didn't learn about Quizlet until I was already out of high school, because Quizlet wasn't a thing then, and I was going to some other schools and courses, and someone's like, yeah man, use Quizlet to study, and there's probably some flashcards on there that are gonna help you out and whatever. And long story short, I discovered Quizlet, and if you're in high school or if you just graduated, whatever, you already know what this is. But if you're like me and you didn't learn about Quizlet until later on in life, you are missing out. It is phenomenal. Even the free version, it's fantastic, because whatever you're looking for, it's probably already on Quizlet, and then someone probably has the answer you're looking for as well. So it's a lot easier to study. But for real though, you can do flashcards on Quizlet. You can make your own study cards. You can put in your own stuff, and it'll just test you on it as well. There's a ton of different learning opportunities on Quizlet that you can use to figure out your learning style. And I highly recommend Quizlet, not just because what you're looking for is probably already on there, but because I've used it myself personally to either cram, which I don't recommend, or study over time, and it really helps. Like, Quizlet is a phenomenal resource, and it's free. It's on your phone. It's an app. You download it, and it's awesome. So number 2, check out Quizlet. Search ASVAB study, ASVAB math, ASVAB reading, ASVAB word knowledge, etc. And if you're struggling with a specific part, which most people, you know, just by being a recruiter and already knowing this, most people struggle with the math portion. So if you're not good with math, study math specific portions on the ASVAB to help boost that score in the math category, which helps boost your overall ASVAB score as a whole. So just keep that in mind. So number 2, Quizlet, phenomenal resource, highly recommended. Number 3, old school, right? Traditional, boom, grab the ASVAB book. ASVAB 2022 book. Go to Barnes & Noble, go on Amazon, probably go to your library, get it for free, whatever. The book's probably about 20, 25 bucks. Now, people are like, I don't have money. I can't afford that, whatever. I get it, man. Money can be tight for some people, and completely understand. But the question I always said was, what if that $20 investment, $30 investment, however much it cost, was the difference between you becoming a Marine or enlisting in the military and you not enlisting in the military? When you say it's a pretty good investment, you invest in yourself to get what it is you want out of the military, which is enlisting, joining, and having a fruitful career, right? So get the book. And then here's like a tip I wasn't really gonna say because it's kind of unethical, but at the same portion, it is what it is. If money's that tight, go buy the book, study it, and then return it.
Oh, he's stealing! He's stealing!
I don't recommend that, but if you're that bad off, then I'm just saying, I'm not saying to do this, but if you happen to do that, that might work too, just so you can get that book or whatever. But yeah, get the book. It goes over all 10 sections of the ASVAB. It's like 550 pages. It's about this thick, and it works. There's practice tests in there, whatever you need. It literally walks you through step by step. Like, I recommend that, and I don't even like books, but I actually, one of the guys that, another recruiter I used to work with, enlisted. The guy came in, quick story, took the ASVAB, got like a 20. I think it was a 20. He didn't pass, basically.
Bruh.
Always wanted to be a Marine, all this good stuff. Went out that day, bought the ASVAB 2022 book. Went to Barnes & Noble, paid like 25 bucks. Spent the next 7 days. 7 days, not 7 weeks, not months, 7 days. Read that book from cover to cover. The whole thing. And this guy was married and he had kids, just saying. He made time, read the whole thing, did the practice test, came back 1 week later, which again never happens. It just really doesn't. And for those that typically come back a week later, their scores generally don't improve because there hasn't been enough time. But anyways, came back a week later, retook the test and got a 66. Went from a 20 to a 66 by reading that whole book, which not only did he pass the test, but he actually got a really good score and ended up landing an aviation job that he really wanted because his scores were so high. So that just goes to prove that, yes, it is possible if you put the time in and you make it a priority. So ASVAB book, you can find them used. And just a quick pro tip, you don't even need the 2022 ASVAB book because they're a book company, right? Think about this. They make money by repurposing the same material year after year. ASVAB 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, etc. It's all the same. You can get an ASVAB 2010 book, read it, and still pass the ASVAB because in the last 10 years, the ASVAB hasn't changed. It's been the same since I took the ASVAB back in 2008, so nothing's changed on that. So it doesn't really matter which ASVAB book you get, just get one. And again, library is a great resource too, and it's free. Borrow one from a friend or just cough up a couple bucks and go buy one, but that's another great resource as well. Next, go on Google and Google ASVAB study material. materials. So when I was recruiting up in Moreno Valley, I went on and we had guys come in, they would take the practice test all the time and they would fail. And then, you know, okay, I'm gonna go study and come back. But by you saying I'm gonna go study and come back, I don't know what you're studying or if you're even really gonna study, let's be honest. So I was like, hey, look, I went online, I did some research, spent about an hour, and I compiled a sheet, which if I can find, I'll put it on here too. And it was ASVAB study material. And there were QR codes you could scan that would take you to Quizlet, that would take you to various websites that I had people test out and verify these are good resources to use and study from. So I think there's one called Union Test Prep. I'll confirm and put that in the description as well. That basically you can take the full ASVAB practice test, get a score, see where you're at. It'll tell you which sections you're not good at, such as math, word knowledge, etc. So you can study those specific sections, because let's keep this in mind. If you take the test and you're like, hey, I'm crushing it in the reading, in the paragraph comprehension, and I'm crushing the word knowledge, awesome. Don't worry about these two. But if you're like, I suck at math and I suck at, science or whatever, go study those sections, because that's the two you already know and the two you don't know. Once you put those together, you're going to improve your overall score. And just another pro tip as well, like I mentioned earlier, the ASVAB is 10 sections, okay? But here's how this works. The first 5 sections, okay, those make up your actual ASVAB score, your AFQT, the number you get, which is like 1 out of 99, or in the case of passing the ASVAB, 31 out of 99, right? The first 5 sections make up that overall score. Sections 6 through 10 are what give you the line scores. This is Marine Corps specific, by the way. Give you the line scores that qualify you for different jobs. So for instance, one of the section 6 through 10 sections is like mechanics, right? Like working with, tools, your hands, cars, etc., right? Don't study that if you're trying to pass the ASVAB, because by you scoring high on that section, it's not going to help boost your overall score, and you're kind of wasting your time by passing the ASVAB. I'm not saying you're wasting your time with getting a better score later on, but just to initially pass the ASVAB, don't focus on those sections. Focus on the first 5 sections primarily. And that's when I say that real quick, because I've had guys who are like, yeah, I studied all these other sections that weren't relevant, and they still didn't get an overall passing score. So just to put that out there as well. So yeah, Google ASVAB study materials, find some actual good links and try them out. And again, this is a whole trial and error thing, but I'm just giving you resources and tips that you can try and apply to find what works best for you to help you get that qualifying passing score. Let's move on. Next, you're watching this video on YouTube. YouTube is a phenomenal resource, and it's probably one of my favorites, only because you can have actual professors, actual teachers, and real people teach you through video just like this how to pass the ASVAB, because I can like walk you through verbally a math problem, and you could listen and try to figure it out. But if I'm literally holding up a whiteboard and I'm like, okay, here's the problem and here's how we're going to solve it, and you're following along, that's going to be a lot more beneficial than you just listening or reading it in a book and watching like a breakdown of the problem. So you can literally do a follow along visual tutorial on YouTube of how to pass the ASVAB, the math section, the reading section, the paragraph comprehension, word knowledge. There are people, there's literally, I looked this up the other day, there's over 10,000 videos on YouTube, and like good quality videos from like professors and whatnot, not like some guy recording it with a potato in a corner, low light, terrible, like actual good quality stuff that you can follow along with to pass the ASVAB. So I highly recommend that as well. And if you're not interested, just check it out too, because you'd be surprised. At first I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, I don't watch a video on how to pass this, and I watched it and I was like, this is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty good information, because when fun fact, I retook the ASVAB back in 2011, I think, something like that. Anyways, I retook the ASVAB, and study materials back then, they weren't what they are today. I literally had a box of flashcards that I bought at Barnes & Noble for $49.99, $50 for a box of flashcards. And I'm like, man, I really suck at fractions. How do I do fractions? The internet and Google, it's not what it is today. Social media wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't what it is now, to where the information was as easily accessible. So I'm like looking at flashcards, handwriting, long writing, all this stuff out. And I'm like, now you can just watch a video and get the same information in 5 minutes, when I spent hours doing that as well. So just to kind of put things into perspective for those that are watching right now. But yes, YouTube is a phenomenal resource. Just YouTube, ASVAB study guide, ASVAB study material, ASVAB math portion, ASVAB paragraph comprehension portion, whatever the case is, and you're gonna find a ton of videos on that. And so now let's get into some paid things. Everything I've mentioned up until this point, with the exception of the book, is all free. And actually, even the book is free if you go to the library. So up to this point, nothing has cost you any money. And I highly recommend you use everything I've said before this before going here, because it's free. Now, if that doesn't work, which it should, but in some rare cases, some people just want to go straight to the best. Some people want to try these other things out first. It just depends on the kind of person you are. But anyways, one of the last things I'm going to recommend is the ASVAB tutor. Now, I've never done this personally, but I have met a few people who have, and they have had good results from that. But I'm going to preface with, it is expensive.
Hello, I like money.
Like, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
What the hell?
To get a tutor, whether that's in person, which because of COVID and everything, that's not really a thing right now. It's more virtual and online, but basically someone essentially does personalize to you what YouTube is doing for free. All right, take this practice test. Okay, you're struggling with these portions. Let's go over, what are you having trouble with? I don't understand fractions or whatever. Let's learn how to do fractions. So you're paying for someone to teach you what you can find for free, but some people like that, and that's totally fine. ASVAB tutor, you can go on Instagram and type in ASVAB tutor. There's a ton of websites, a ton of Instagram pages with testimonials and whatnot of people, using this paid service and passing, right? And like I said, it's not a scam or anything. It actually works, but it just depends on how much money you're willing to pay and how invested you are for this. So this would be the absolute last thing I mentioned. I don't really even recommend it as well, because it costs a lot of money, and you can get the same, if not better, results by not paying a single dime. But go on Google, go on Instagram, if you even use Facebook, right, or whatever, and just look up ASVAB tutor, and you can find, they're rated, by stars and whatnot. You can find a quality one. And here's the last thing, they said that you're guaranteed to pass. You don't pass, you don't pay. But here's the kicker. If you get a 31, you pass, but that's not a great score in terms of jobs, careers, etc. in the military. So although you pass, you didn't get a really good score, but they said pass or don't pay. So it's kind of one of those things. And if you get a 30, not a 31, they keep tutoring you until you get that passing score. So again, just be kind of cautious when doing that. And I'm not throwing any shade at tutors. If you're watching this and you're a tutor, hey, I respect what you guys do, but again, I just recommend other avenues before going to this route. So just keep that in mind going forward. All right, so without having to make this video any longer than it already is, because I am long-winded and I do like to talk a lot, that is how you can guaranteed pass the ASVAB. But the very last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is everything I've said up to this point. It's tried, it's true, it works, guaranteed. But if you don't make time, if you don't make this a priority, if you don't give a shit and really focus on this, it doesn't matter if you have the most expensive, best tutor in the world, or you're using your phone or whatever, you're still not gonna pass, because you have to focus on this. You have to make this a priority. Put down the phones. Hey, I can't go out this weekend because I'm trying to join the military and I got to study for this test. Hey, I can't go out and drink or do whatever you're going to do instead, because this is what you want to do. So if you make everything else a priority and not this, you'll never pass. And unfortunately, I've witnessed that firsthand by kids coming in month after month. Hey man, you studied for 3 months. You just told me you studied for 3 months. You came back in, bro, you're about to crush this test. You get the same or worse score. How did you study for this long and not get a good score? Oh, you study over a 3-month period, but in total you studied for like 2 hours total. Of course you're not going to get better. So what I recommend, just from experience and seeing this firsthand from a bunch of people, every day, I would say, carve out an hour, but let's be realistic. Carve out 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes. That's nothing. You spend more time on the toilet scrolling through Instagram, than you could be studying for this. But take away 30 minutes. Go into your room, go somewhere quiet, your car, whatever, and just study. Whether that's the app, a website, flashcards, the book, whatever, and just focus on your studies for 30 minutes a day. If you do that every single day, or let me be generous, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for 30 minutes. And if you get like 20 minutes or whatever, something's better than nothing. But consistency. If you do that and you focus on what you're not good at and you actually apply yourself, I guarantee you're going to pass. And let's say you do pass, right? Let's say you get a 31, 35, whatever, a passing score, but kind of a low score. Guess what? You've already passed it. You already understand the basics. Now you can study on specific subjects and specific portions of the ASVAB to even get that score even higher. So again, it's like you have to build the foundation first, And now once you start putting up that structure, okay, cool. Now we can focus on the specifics. So if we're using like a housing analogy, you got the foundation, now we're putting up the, the walls. Now the specifics are the roof, the electrical, the plumbing, etc. Now you can really hone in and get that house, or in your case, that score, where it is you want to be. So not only are you now qualified to join the military, but now you can get cocky and be like, hey, I know I qualify for this job, and that job, and that's what I want. So now you're really narrowing it down. But with all that being said, guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Those are my tips and what I've seen that's tried and true to help you pass the ASVAB. So with that, guys, thank you so much. Please like this video. Please share with someone else that you know is struggling, whether that's you, someone else, or someone that can just really benefit from this video, so we can help spread the love and help more people pass and accomplish their dreams that they're trying to set out for themselves. Hit the bell notification to get notified when I post new videos. And as always, guys, I really appreciate it. Until next time.